Hey Ashlyn, I'd love to see a post about your blog writing process. It's such a speed bump for me. Anyone else? Bueller? Your wish, my command. Today I'm talking to you all about my blog post writing process so you can cultivate a blog writing workflow that works for you. Hey there, welcome or welcome back. My name is Ashlyn Carter and you are watching the Ashlyn Writes channel. I am a conversion copywriter for creatives as well as a calligrapher, and I love to talk about how you can steward your time well and make more money with your words so you can get out there and do more of the creative things that you love to do. Before we jump in, I make new videos every single Friday, so hit subscribe and you'll be first to know when they come out. So I am a blog grandmother, a young grandmother, yes, but definitely in grandma territory. Way back in 2009, I was interning at Time Inc.'s Southern Living publication, and I whirled a blog together and posted it on the travel department's blog. That was the department that I was stationed in, and I ran down the office to my editor Tanner's office to tell him that it had gone live. Nice work, he said. Now I want you to publish it on your personal Twitter account. Twitter was brand new, and also publish it on your personal blog. I'm pretty sure I just blinked at him, probably said something along the lines of absolutely, ran back to my cubicle and started a Twitter account and started my first blog. I've been blogging a long time in some capacity, whether for myself personally or for clients, and while a whole lot of things have changed over the years, one thing has not. That is that I'm always going to sit down and have a workflow when I write. You know me, I'm obsessed with time management, and productivity, and honestly, I just hate sitting down to write a blog post and staring at the blinking cursor. I feel like I'm wasting time, I get insecure about my work, and I procrastinate and usually just want to go lay on the couch and watch Netflix. Having a workflow or formula in place before you even sit down and start writing is how you can be halfway done before you even start. So yes, that is why I'm always going to have a workflow for my blogs as well. I do want to say another part that makes my writing process easier is batching it, so doing more than just one at once. And if that is an idea that is new to you, or you just want to figure out how to batch your own work into categories, I would recommend that you jump below and look for the link to my batching workbook. This is a 12-page guide that's going to teach you how you can lump like tasks in your business together so you can get through them faster. So here are those 4 tips for a better blog post. Blog workflow strategy number 1, have an idea bank. Yes, I hate trying to figure out what to blog about, so I keep on hand a ready-to-go list of ideas that I can write about. We actually reserve an entire folder in Gmail for any questions that we get written into the business that I can go ahead and answer. I feel like I have a personal task put upon me that I want to make sure that anybody who asks us a question, we can point them to a free resource that can help them out. That is neither here nor there, but hear what I'm saying here. Can you create some sort of folder in your email system where you house or star or mark questions that you get all the time that you know that you could answer in a blog post? Maybe they are customer questions or a question that every client seems to ask before they start working with you. What do your customers or clients need to know before they look to work with you? Can you help them through that process? Now, if you're just starting out, I would recommend hopping onto Facebook and looking in different groups specifically where your target audience is and seeing what kind of questions come up there. Have you ever seen a question that instead of typing out the answer over in that Facebook group, you could answer in a blog post? Another thing that was helpful at first was to get over on Pinterest and scroll for a little bit, because every now and then a headline will pop out and you think, I know a thing or two about that, I could write about it. I don't necessarily recommend clicking through and reading that post. Instead, maybe see how you can steal like an artist, add your own ideas to it, and add to the greater body of work. Right now, I want you to pause and jump down to the comment section and tell me, what is one question you've gotten lately, either in your inbox from a potential client or that's just come up in conversation that you know that you could answer in a blog post. Blog post strategy number 2, my pre-writing questions list. There's a rule that goes for writing copy for anything in your business, and that is start with the end in mind. No matter if you are writing an Instagram caption, an email, a page of your website, always, always, always start with that end in mind. I do this when I blog by writing 6 questions at the top of the page where I'm writing my blog content. For me, usually that is just Google Docs, but whatever works for you works for me. Those 6 questions I ask myself are, number 1, how does this fit into my overall strategy? Number 2, what's the key takeaway action that I want readers to take here? 3, what questions, if any, do I get asked about this topic? 4, what's my point of view on this? So do I get a little feisty about it? Do I have a background or a story in this? Do I want to expand on an old idea and add new thoughts to that, etc.? What is the reason and the point of view behind you writing this? Number 5, what's the problem you're setting out to talk about? And number 6, what's the solution you're going to offer? I'm sure there are 50 questions that you could ask yourself before you sit down to write any blog post. I like to keep things simple, and for me, those 6 questions have worked for a really long time. Blog post strategy number 3, sketch out an outline for your blog post. Now let me give a disclaimer here. I may should have given this at the beginning, but there's going to be different types of blogs you have for your business. We have a different outline, maybe even workflow for when we blog a real wedding that we've done the calligraphy for. We have a different blog post format when we're blogging a podcast that I've been featured on, that kind of thing. But for a more conversion-driven post where you're trying to prove your authority on a topic, I'm going to have a set outline that I follow every time. These are those blogs that you're really hoping drive traffic, get you an audience, get people interested in what it is you have to offer. I'm going to use a simple 5-point outline to hammer it out. Number 1, an intro story, anecdote, or a fact, something to kick it off. Number 2, the core message. Whatever it is, I'm telling them. Say it clearly. Have you ever heard that phrase before? Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. This is the kind of thing I'm going for there. So you want to be very clear and say, in this blog, I'm going to teach you how to XYZ. Or in this specific post, we're going to walk through blah, 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 blah. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Number 3, the little sections or mini blogs, as I call them. You may have 4 to 5. You may have more than that. You may have less, but that's a good standard number to go off of. Number 4, tell them again, like we were just saying. You want to synthesize and distill that message, and in a bite-sized way, tell them what you've just taught them. And finally, you want to wrap it up with a call to action. Tell them where to go next, where to get more information, or what you want them to do. Finally, number 4, I want you to figure out your blog post gold content and research before you sit down to write. So back to Pinterest. Have you ever been scrolling around there and you find an article that looks interesting and you click on it and you open it and it's completely fluffy? There's not a lot there. There's not a lot of meat. You didn't learn anything new. Has that ever happened to you? Well, I hate when that happens, and I want to make sure that everything that you write is worthy of people's time. The time it takes them to click through and read it, that they really get something out of it. How do you do that? By collecting as much good supporting material as possible. Then you use that to write a really solid blog post. So I have a specific list that I look at when I'm researching a blog post. Sometimes I'm going to include all of these things, sometimes just a few, but regardless, here's that list. Use this to cherry pick when you're researching your blogs. I'll usually try to find 1 or 2 studies or data points. I always try to work in some kind of personal story or an illustration to prove a point. I'll use examples. Now specifically here, it would help if you have done client work about this. Screenshots are always great. 5 to 10 links are what I aim for in every post, and go ahead and try to aim to have a bunch of these be backlinks to pages that are within your own website. Quotes are great, imagery elements, of course, photos, infographics, GIFs, etc. Embedded tutorials or demos, a video, fabulous, and a real life application that they can apply to their life. So again, before I start writing, I'm going to figure all this out. Just like a chef is going to gather her mise en place and put everything in place before she starts cooking, I'm going to do the very same thing. I'm going to have everything all in front of me, so when I sit down to write, I don't have fear of the blinking cursor, and I've got some materials that I can pull from as I write my first draft. For research for these things, honestly, I use Google a lot, as well as any other trusted resources that I have. Great copy isn't written, it's assembled, copywriter Ray Edwards said, and I completely agree. Having a system and workflow in place to write your blogs can be immensely helpful when it comes to cranking them out in a shorter amount of time. And I want you to comment below if you haven't yet. What is one question that you know you could answer this week in a blog post? Additionally, if you're interested in batching some of your tasks together so they take up less time, get your hands on that freebie workbook. It's 12 pages. It's worth it, I promise, and I'll link it down below. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a thumbs up. As always, thanks so much for your time and for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.